This motherfucker.
Another year, another Super Bowl, another day Ben Shapiro cries. Is anybody really surprised? Ben Shapiro literally complains about the Super Bowl halftime show every year.
It's all about the shaking of the ass. That's clearly, and everyone's like, they are so empowered. Look, they're in great shape. Congratulations. That, like, really good for you that plastic surgery and exercise and restrictive diets are able to do a body good.
You like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward?
Typically, it's usually about how twerking leads to the initiation of society. You know, that kind of stuff. But this year, there was none of that. But does that mean Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk will finally shut up about the Super Bowl?
The NFL is now the league of sexual anarchy. This performance should not be allowed on television.
There are a lot of lyrical violations of sort of social norms.
Oh no.
The power of capitalism to basically use whatever it can, whatever's at hand to make money, particularly the halftime show yesterday. And note that all these people who were rebels against the cause, these were folks who were rebelling against the system, systemic racism, here they are being paid by the NFL, which is one of the biggest corporations in America.
So here's a little fun fact for you, Benny boy. The NFL actually doesn't pay the halftime show performers. Also, when was the last time Snoop Dogg talked about how much he hated capitalism?
Who?
I've never seen that happen. Kinda sounds like you're building up a straw man.
Lyrics that are overtly anti-gay, totally fine, so long as you also hate Donald Trump.
So the anti-gay lyrics that he's talking about are about 20 years old now. Majority of rappers today don't have lyrics like that anymore. See, here on the left, we actually believe that people can be reformed. And back in the day, some of them did say that you shouldn't take their lyrics that seriously.
So long as you are seen as a weapon against the system, the left is willing to take you back in, and hilariously, corporations are willing to use you as their spokespeople, and you're willing to take their money.
They didn't take money from the NFL. And even if they did, none of them claimed that they were anti-capitalist. So it's not like they're that hypocritical. Sure, they might have spoken out about systematic racism, but that is not the same thing as being anti-capitalist.
Let me just point out who was on the stage last night during the Super Bowl halftime show, because this really did occur to me while I was watching it. On the stage, they had Dr. Dre, who has been accused of multiple instances of violence against women, including assault of Dee Barnes, who's convicted in 1991. A woman named Michelle, who was the mother of one of his children, accused him of domestic violence. Another woman named Terry B. accused Dre of assaulting her. He was convicted in 1992 of battery of a police officer. He apparently allegedly drove drunk in 1994.
So you thought of all this while you were watching the halftime show? Dude, I highly doubt that you were sitting there watching it like...
Oh yeah, that Dr. Dre guy that was charged by Terry B back in 1992, and that one time that he drove drunk in 1994.
You sound like you're reading this from a rap sheet. It's almost like you looked all this up just to find a reason to hate Dr. Dre. Also, you seem to like bringing up people's histories to get them canceled. So I'm sure you wouldn't get mad if I brought up your history, Ben. Like the one time you said Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage.
Yes, that's a dumb tweet.
We know.
Snoop Dogg, who of course has been arrested for everything from cocaine possession to first and second degree murder. He was acquitted on those charges, but arrested for them. And by the way, in January, he cut a song that included the following lyrics, quote, "All you N-words out there, take your guns that you're using to shoot each other and start shooting these bitch-ass MFing police. That'll impress a MFing N-word like me." That was like January.
Who cares?
You got 50 Cent up there, who was arrested in 94 for cocaine trafficking, in 2003 for criminal possession of a weapon. I thought that this was bad. I thought that, even according to the left, I thought this stuff was bad. No? Not so much?
Nobody on the left said that it wasn't bad. Listen, Ben, you can list off every bad thing that they did, but you can't be making this argument when Kyle Rittenhouse, somebody who actually killed 2 people, was doing a media tour through conservative outlets.
I like a girl with a little bit of butt.
You can say it was self-defense all you want, but the kid shouldn't be on Steven Crowder talking about women after he killed 2 people. Also kind of curious that Ben brings up the criminal history of these people. I wonder why.
You have Eminem, right? Who famously was sort of pre-canceled because of all of his lyrics, including ones about violence against his ex-wife and about raping his mom and about stabbing gay people. All of that sort of stuff is in his lyrics.
Yeah, people really did get upset about Eminem back in the day. And even though canceling somebody wasn't really a thing in the late 90s and early 2000s, he was still protested. The Zoomers actually did try to cancel Eminem about a year ago. They failed, but they still tried, so you can't really call that hypocritical. Plus, Eminem says that you shouldn't be taking his lyrics literally, so anybody getting mad over them is really just kind of dumb.
So Eminem, he kneels for a full minute in the middle of this halftime show. And he just kneels and puts his hand on his head for a full minute, right, to demonstrate that he is in touch with the Black Lives Matter movement and with the needs of black people. Eminem is kneeling for a full minute on the stage to the NFL's approval.
The fact that you sound kind of triggered about Eminem kneeling kind of shows that it is still controversial, Ben.
In 2016, Colin Kaepernick, a backup quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers who'd been benched for the immortal Blaine Gabbert because he sucks.
Colin Kaepernick led the 49ers to a Super Bowl back in 2013, so he can't really suck that much. Is it really that big of a coincidence that as soon as he started to kneel, he was benched?
They started putting at the end zone the words "end racism" on one side, and it takes all of us on the other, which of course ends racism. I mean, as we all know, if there's one thing that ends racism in the United States, it is putting the words "end racism" at the back of the end zone in an NFL game.
I actually agree with you, Ben. Having those phrases on the end zone won't end racism. Those are just hollow words. Let's actually take action. One thing I do know that will help the black community is to legalize marijuana, because of the fact that so many non-violent black drug offenders are locked up. And black people are more likely to be locked up for marijuana possession, even though they smoke the same rate as white people.
Racism ended, or alternatively, these corporations are playing you. If you're a radical leftist and you think that these people are your friends, they are playing you.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
And by the way, if you're on the right and you think these corporations are your friends, they're not. They're willing to use whatever is at hand. If they feel like they can make a buck off the woke by mirroring woke messaging, they will. They have no principles. They don't care. It's all about just making the money for them. That's all.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
So capitalism. The reason corporations don't have principles is because of capitalism. Got it. Thanks, Ben.
That there's not enough African-American qualified coaches to manage these NFL teams. It just seems to me that it's a standard that they'd want to live up to.
An old white man is telling you that the NFL is super duper racist.
Ben, that's identity politics. You sounded like an SJW there.
Because you have not experienced what I've experienced. And that is an identity argument. That's a character argument. That's not a rational political argument. By the way, Roger Goodell doesn't care. He didn't care. As long as you keep pumping that money into his pocket, he does not care.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't care as long as he gets capitalism.
By the way, no one was wearing a mask yesterday at the Super Bowl. And the LA County put out a big list, a big ad. Like, you should all put on masks. Well, there's Jay-Z not wearing a mask. There's Matt Damon not wearing a mask. You see, can you spot a single person in any of the... There's Charlize Theron. Anyone wearing a mask? Anyone surrounding these people wearing a mask? Anything? There's LeBron. Is he wearing a mask? No, of course he's not wearing a mask. There's J-Lo and Ben Affleck, the awkwardest celebrity couple of all time.
Ben, if all of those celebrities were wearing masks, you'd be making fun of them.
Oh, look at all these Democrats wearing masks outside.
I'm pretty sure you don't care if they're masked or not. You just want to cry about something.
And remember, all the people on the stage who have spent their lives rapping about the evils of the American system are some of the richest people in America.
So you can't critique a system that you've benefited from. Really, Ben? So that's the end of the video. The thing that I find most interesting is how Ben chooses to talk about the Super Bowl every year. Instead of, like, things that actually matter. Like, as a news channel, I would think that you'd talk about things like, I don't know, the Ukraine-Russia situation, healthcare, student loan debt. But instead, he just talks about how much his feelings were hurt during the halftime show. Ben, I have so much sympathy for you.